Good morning everybody. This is Dansirani from Apex Ponvidyashram, Velacheri. In continuation with the last session on organisms and populations, now we are going to see about how the living organisms respond to various abiotic factors. Let us first see how living organisms respond to abiotic factors. Many organisms maintain a constant internal environment despite varying external environmental conditions. This process is called homeostasis. We all know the abiotic conditions of many habitats may vary drastically in time. But whatever may be the changes happening in the abiotic condition, the living organisms maintain a constant internal environment within their body. This process is called as homeostasis. Therefore, homeostasis is the maintenance of a stable internal environment by living organisms. How living organisms achieve this homeostasis? They achieve this process of maintaining the constant internal environment by certain responses to the varying abiotic factors such as regulate, conform, migrate and suspend. Some organisms are able to maintain homeostasis by physiological and behavioral means. Such organisms are called as regulators. They ensure constant body temperature by means of thermoregulation. We all know thermoregulation is the maintenance of temperature despite changes in the external environment. And also by osmoregulation. What is osmoregulation? It is the maintenance of the osmotic concentration of water and minerals in cellular level despite changes in the external environment. Therefore, these organisms regulate temperature and osmotic concentration of body fluids. Example for regulators are all birds and mammals and also very few lower vertebrates and invertebrates. Therefore, regulators are organisms. They can maintain their constant internal temperature even though there is changes in the external environment by physiological and behavioral. Regulators are warm-blooded animals. It means they can regulate and maintain a constant internal body temperature, and they are also called as endotherms. Endotherms are organisms that can generate their own body heat. Example, birds and mammals. The success of mammals is mainly due to their ability to maintain a constant body temperature. In summer, when outside temperature is more than our body temperature, we all know our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So during summer, when the outside temperature is more than our body temperature, we used to sweat profusely, and the resulting evaporative cooling brings down the temperature. Thereby, it tries to maintain the normal body temperature. In winter, when temperature is lower, we tend to shiver. It's a kind of exercise that produces heat and raises the body temperature. Actually, plants do not have such mechanism to maintain internal temperatures. Only organisms such as birds and all the mammals and also very few lower vertebrates and invertebrates, they exist the mechanism of regulating their body temperature. Let us now see the next response of living organisms to abiotic factors. Majority of animals and nearly all plants cannot maintain a constant internal environment as regulators. These organisms, they change their body temperature with respect to the surrounding external environment. These organisms are called as conformers. So conformers are organisms whose body temperature or osmotic concentration changes with the surrounding external environmental conditions. They are also called as cold-blooded animals because they cannot regulate their internal body temperature with the change in the external environmental condition. And they are also called as ectotherms because they depend on the external sources of body heat. These type of organisms are found in mainly in aquatic environment, and also reptiles and amphibians are also conformers. In aquatic animals, osmotic concentration of body fluid changes with that of the ambient osmotic concentration. Therefore, conformers, they cannot regulate their body temperature. So, these organisms, they cannot survive in extreme temperature conditions. Whereas regulators, they can regulate their body temperature so that they can thrive whether they live in Antarctica or in the Sahara Desert. Whereas conformers, they cannot live in such extreme conditions because their temperature mainly depends upon the external conditions. So conformers are other organisms which respond to abiotic factors in such a way that they fluctuate their temperature according to the external environment. Why conformers cannot regulate their internal body temperature as such like regulators? Because thermoregulation is energetically expensive for many organisms. This is particularly true for small animals like shrews and hummingbirds. Heat loss or heat gain is a function of surface area. Since small animals have a large surface area relative to their volume, they tend to lose body heat very fast when it is cold outside. Then they have to expend much energy to generate body heat through metabolism. This is the main reason why very small animals are rarely found in polar regions. During the course of evolution, the cost and benefits of maintaining a constant internal environment are taken into consideration. Some species have evolved the ability to regulate, but only over a limited range of environmental conditions, beyond which no way they have to simply conform. So you can see in this diagrammatic representation of organisms' response to abiotic factors. In this you can see that the regulators, they can maintain or they can regulate their internal environment even though there is a change in the external environment. Whereas the conformers, they cannot regulate their body temperature, so that they keep on changing their body temperature according to the ambience, that is the surrounding environment. And some organisms, they are partial regulators, that is to some extent they can regulate their internal temperature, but after a limited period of time they too can't regulate their temperature, so simply they will also become conformers. If the changes in the environment or the stressful situation in the external environment will remain for a short period of time, then the organisms has two other alternatives. They are either they can migrate or they undergo suspension. First, let us see about migration. What is migration? The temporary movement of organisms from the stressful habitat to a more hospitable area, that is convenient area, and return when stressful period is over is called migration. It is like a person moving from Delhi to Shimla during the summer season, and definitely he will come back home when the summer season gets over. So just to make his climatic condition convenient, he is for a temporary period of time, he is migrating from Delhi to Shimla. In the same way, other organisms will undergo migration, that is for a temporary period of time they will move from a stressful habitat to a more hospitable area. Many animals and particularly birds during winter undertake long distance migrations to more hospitable areas. Every winter, the famous Keolado National Park at Bharatpur in Rajasthan, it hosts thousands of migratory birds coming from Siberia, especially the Siberian cranes. You can see the picture of the Siberian cranes that are undergoing migration from Siberia to Bharatpur National Park in Rajasthan during the winter season, and they will return back when the climatic conditions become normal. And also not only the Siberian cranes, also many animals such as fishes like salmon and eel and even reindeer and whales also undergo migration. Some organisms undergo a state of suspended development. In bacteria, fungi and lower plants, we can see various kinds of thick-walled spores. That is, these organisms, they form thick-walled spores during the period of unfavorable conditions. And these spores, they undergo a period of dormancy, that is, they will become inactive, and when the favorable condition returns back, they germinate and they survive in that favorable environment. Similarly, in higher plants, seeds and some vegetative reproductive structures, they also undergo a period of dormancy. During this period of dormancy in the sense they won't show any growth in that time, and they will be very inactive, and they even reduce their metabolic activity. And once the favorable condition returns back, they undergo germination and survive in the favorable condition. So this is called as suspension. Some organisms, they cannot migrate, but they can avoid stressful conditions in the environment by escaping in time. Examples: hibernation of bears during winter. Hibernation is nothing but the winter sleep. During the winter season, to avoid the extreme cold condition, organisms such as polar bear, they simply sleep in their burrows, and they undergo a period of dormancy, and they will be very inactive during this period. And some organisms such as snails and also fishes, they undergo aestivation, which is summer sleep. During extreme hot climatic condition, these organisms, they undergo aestivation. Here you can see the mudfish undergoing aestivation, and similarly snails, they are found inside the shell, and they won't come out of the shell till the aestivation period is over. Only when the favorable condition returns back, they will come out. And also some zooplanktons. Zooplanktons are free-floating organisms found in the aquatic habitats. Example for zooplankton is radiolaria and also dinoflagellates. These zooplanktons, they also undergo a stage of suspended development called diapause. During this stage, they will be in dormant condition, and when the favorable condition return back in the aquatic habitat, they will become normal and they will start their normal life. So far we have learned about the responses of living organisms to various abiotic factors. In the next session, we can see about the adaptations of these organisms to different environmental conditions. Thank you.